Welcome to episode 3 of the Quarry site location series. For those of you just joining us, there is a location northeast of Wheatland Reservoir number 3 in Southeast Wyoming, where for one location there is an amazingly wide variety of geology exposed, and awesome rocks for anyone willing and able to carry them on the long walk back to the road. In episode 1, we saw the rare and unusual wind-polished jaspers, and episode 2 brought us the vividly colored jasper nodules. We call it the Quarry site because here there is also a small Native American quarry where they likely extracted the abundant jasper and agate for making tools. Today we will be looking specifically at rose quartz and other quartz varieties that occur in large veins crisscrossing granite and hornblende schist. Stick with me, I don't think you'll be disappointed. At this location there is a wide, flat valley covered with sagebrush and soil, but scattered across it are low, rocky outcrops of deep basement rocks, mainly a hornblende schist and also of a pink granite. These are crisscrossed with what appear to be vertical dikes of quartz, some of them being several feet wide. These photos show me and one of these veins in the pink granite. This is in stark contrast to the surrounding hills, which are comprised of limestone and sandstones bearing the abundant agates and jasper nodules, druzy quartz geodes, and even some fossils. For me, one of my favorite discoveries on these basement rock exposures is the rose quartz. There is a huge vein of it, and some of the pieces would require a truck to get out of there. But again, remember that each time we went, because of how long of a walk it is, probably about a 6-mile loop in total, plus all our wandering around, and also what a long drive out there and back, about 3.5 hours each way, we only had time for one backpack full of whatever we were willing to carry, and so on each trip I would bring a piece or two of this and a piece or two of that, and Grant would do the same. And over about 20 years, Grant and I probably went out there about as many times. So remember, all of this came little by little on our backs. This short video clip from 2013 shows a little stretch of our walk back out after a day of rock hunting.
And this is my friend Grant showing us all how to stay healthy. He's got about a 60-pound rock in his pack. And I'm the younger guy, so I have learned to always let the older guy carry the rocks. And probably from here it's like 1.5 miles or maybe 2 miles. But each trip we come, he carries this rock a little further. Sometimes I help him and carry it a little further, and then we leave it. Then next time we advance a little more.
I don't know if you noticed the really big single piece of rose quartz on top of the sculpture earlier, but that is an example of one that took me 3 trips to get back to the car. I would have my backpack full of regular stuff and then that rock on my shoulder for almost a mile each time. Below the rose quartz, we see here what I have heard people call lithium quartz, something about the deep red and purple hues that imply lithium content in this quartz. The veins on site are otherwise similarly structured, and these pieces are really striking as ventifacts. This larger piece was further out on the flat and is well on its way to becoming a beautiful ventifact. Because quartz is so hard and these pieces are quite solid at that, many of the best ventifacts out on the flat plain are of quartzes left over from these veins when the host rock has long since eroded away. At first, I thought that this vibrant red and purple was just a surface feature, such as when hematite lightly coats crystals and they can appear to be red, but are really white or clear inside. In these, the reds and purples persist, even when the rock has been well weathered and polished by the wind. To me, this is a really attractive material, and I left behind many giant pieces that left me imagining what an amazing nighttime light show we could make if we could ever get them back here and put lights under them. This next couple of rocks are a true mystery, especially since they were taken from what amounts to a tiny exposure of little more than a few broken pieces laying roughly in a line in the grass on the flat plain. They struck me as the eroded remnants of a narrow dike of this brecciated quartz with few clues as to its origin. From direct observation, which is really all we have to go by, they appear to be made of similar material to the dikes of quartz nearby and cemented with reddish quartz, perhaps related to the lithium quartz we have been seeing. We know they are hard because we can clearly see that while two opposing sides exhibit protruding clasts as if eroded surfaces, the opposite two opposing sides show that the rock fractured through the quartz clasts rather than around them, similar to how quartzite differs from its parent sandstone in that it too fractures through the grains rather than around the grains, since the whole rock has become in essence quartz. I hope that someday I can stumble upon this little line of rocks again, as I would like a few more pieces of it. Since it is in the grass, I wouldn't see it unless I happened to walk right over it again. Many good rocks have gotten away from me that way. We can never find them again. Geologically speaking, this area is known to be highly influenced by faults, and it is near what is known as the Wheatland Fault Zone and also near what is known as the Hartville Uplift, both of which did some major moving around of rocks back in the day. I am not an expert geologist, but if the local limestones and sandstones are in the 300 million year age, which is what I have researched, then these basement rocks are definitely much, much older. Nonetheless, these brecciated quartzes remain a mystery, and if anyone knows specific geology to the area, please comment, as I highly solicit and value comments on these questions. There are also veins of what we call peach quartz, and of course an overabundance of milky quartz, especially in the hornblende schists that I mentioned earlier. But I promised you guys the 28-pound rose quartz Ventifact, which is probably the star of the show here. This piece was found upside down, evidently turned over in fairly recent times, as is evidenced by the original bottom being exposed long enough for lichens to have grown on it. The only reason I was attracted to this rock is because of the deep pink color visible on the bottom. And I was pleasantly surprised when I turned it over and found the amazing polished surfaces beneath. Perhaps frost or a burrowing animal or even a tree growing during a warmer period in history could have been the culprit for disturbing this rock's otherwise very long rest. Of course, although I'm pretty sure this rose quartz is related to the rose quartz I showed earlier in the video from the localized dikes in the hornblende schist, this piece was found far off and away out on the plain, left high and dry long after its original host rock and whatever it was a part of had completely turned to dust, but because it's quartz, it still remained. Please stay tuned for the next video in which we will cover this hornblende schist, as it too is a beautiful and fascinating rock with many interesting features and crystals, but we'll leave that for another video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Again, I look forward to your comments. God bless you guys.